digitization has become the buzzword, more so in healthcare, and especially in these times after COVID pandemic, it's become very common for everybody to be talking about digitization. And for a long time, we have been hearing of various challenges that the hospitals face for digitizing. I want to address some of the conventionally known or addressed challenges, and some of the newer challenges that we haven't yet started thinking about, and some of us have, have really very less knowledge about these challenges. Now, this is something which all of us in the gathering probably know. What are the expectations from a healthcare delivery mechanism across the world? That we would be able to provide quality healthcare at reduced cost and to everybody who needs it. In addition, what people miss is that the management of healthcare related data is also an implied expectation from the healthcare delivery mechanisms or the healthcare providers. In the olden days, the hospitals or the doctors were the guardians or the custodians of the patient's data. The records were kept in the hospital, and whenever the patient came to the hospitals would take it out. So they were all kept in a folder and they would be retained in the hospital for various lengths of time. So this is not that we have not been managing healthcare data before. It's just that mechanism of healthcare data management will change with digitization, and that is something that we all need to take cognizance of. I want to just share with you this slide to show you how complex the healthcare ecosystem is around the patient. So if you took a patient's journey from birth to death, the multiple interactions or the touch points that a person has in their lifetime with some or the other healthcare provider. It could be in the space of, let's say, the preventive healthcare space, which is in the community. It could be vaccinations, it could be infectious diseases. It could be an acute care episode, which I have described here as a prescriptive health, which is in a hospital, whether it is a primary care or a secondary care center or a tertiary hospital, and that's an acute event. Or whether it be the data that is collected and collated and provided for managing the population health in terms of epidemiology of the disease. So this is how complex the healthcare system is, and this is how complex the data collection of the entire life cycle of a patient is. So if we were to, or in fact, I should say life cycle of every citizen is, because we are patients for brief periods of time in our life, but rest of the time also, there is a lot of data that has importance and that has implications on our overall healthcare. And that data is also continuously getting generated. And in many places, it is getting intermittently collected. Now, whether it be the public healthcare system or the private healthcare system, the data collection does not change. What is different is just the infrastructure, the brick and mortar infrastructure, and some process flows which are more administrative. But as far as the healthcare delivery mechanisms are concerned, the delivery of healthcare is the same. It does not matter whether a person seeks healthcare in a public system or a private healthcare system. So just to go through the data of one episode of acute care. So this is, let's say a patient is hospitalized. Look at the different parameters that we are collecting for a patient's hospitalization. So this is in an intensive care setting, the number of parameters that define the various points based on which the clinician has to make decisions. In a very, very organized manner, they have to quickly process all this data and come to a conclusion. So it's not, you'll realize that it is not easy. There are multiple things that one has to look at, and not even one parameter we can afford to miss, because the consequences of missing an important data here or any parameter, the variations in parameters, can have drastic consequences for the patient. And this also needs to be based on, the decision has to come from our knowledge that we have gathered from all that we have studied, the evidences around the world, and all the analytics that we need to do around it. So we are in a world where the amount of data that we collect during a healthcare episode is enormous, and all of that needs simultaneous processing. To add to that complexity, we have, not only just the physician looking at the patient and noting down the data, we have multiple equipments that we use, multiple devices that we use, and each one of them is recording some parameter or the other, whether it's a lab test, whether it is the vital charts, they all need to be integrated, and the data flows into the collective pool, which then lends itself to the decision making mechanism. And it needs to be continuous in process. So it's not, so the entire episode of illness from admission to discharge is one continuous process. So the decisions have to be also in that nature seamless, whether the patient is in the OR, whether the patient shifts to the ICU, whether the patient goes to the ward, right from admission to discharge, there has to be a seamless continuity of care. And this is where information and data management is so important. So what we need is the decision support systems. Now, in addition to making decisions based on this data, to almost always keep in mind the patient safety. All the tasks for which we need, notifications to different action or the actors in the whole system, whether it's the doctors, the nurses, the infection control nurse, all the other care providers. Whenever there are changes made in the decision, supposing the doctor writes an order and it is changed, and the nurse has to get notified, the drug safety checks and different alerts like medication alerts and things like that. In addition to that, we have various analytics that we require for decision support, for benchmarking against the best practices and the various guidelines that are available. If that was not enough, when the patient goes home, expects to have some continuity of care at home with the various patient engagement apps and the devices that they wear. So the new age patient has a different health seeking behavior than what was in the past. So we are seeing this more and more now. The new age doctor is also changing. The doctor now expects that when the doctor is traveling, he could be anywhere, but he should have access to the patient's records, and he should be able to take the decisions based on all that data. So this is something that is reflective of the changing nature of the patient by the way they seek help, and the changing nature of the doctors by which they want to be continuously in connect with the patient even when they're traveling. If you look at the care continuum in a hospital of any nature, you find that there are various points of data collection, whether it is through the hospital information systems, the EMRs, digital ICUs, PACS, lab systems, the HR automated systems, pharmacy, and you have certain other desirable data points, which are the devices and apps and ambulances and the Internet of Medical Things. And all these lend themselves to rules engines and AI for personalized and predictive care. And eventually we expect that the patient should have control over his or her data. So what are the challenges that we find in digitization of all these workflows? We have always talked about slow adoption by healthcare workforce, whether it be for fear of losing control or resistance to change. But I feel that it is not so much the resistance to change, but it is more the inadequate knowledge of what digital health really means for them. And we would come to this a little later. The healthcare workforce is not adequately knowledgeable about the digitization of healthcare, if I may say so. One has always felt that maybe it is because the physicians feel that the bubble around them will, not be preserved, or that there may be a risk of dehumanization of care. I want to add here that with the COVID pandemic, it has been sufficiently proven that there is no dehumanization of care, and people have started to accept telemedicine. And that in a way has been good because it is proven that when the time comes, the physicians as well as the patients will adapt digital technology very easily. And therefore, this risk of dehumanization does not really exist. The cultural barriers of traditional healthcare could be considered a challenge. We need to really relook at the way we deliver healthcare, from trying to control the data to actually owning and dating, to actually sharing the data and not want to be owners of data at all times. We also need to change our focus from disease focus to a wellness focus. We need to start thinking big, and instead of thinking of a single patient, we need to start thinking of population and look at continuity of care rather than look at each episode separately. The earlier days, we really were not so focused on the continuity of care across the life. Of course, we were focused on continuity during the episode, but between events, barring a few diseases, it wasn't really even done to think of patient from cradle to grave as one entity. So now, with the availability of data, one can look at this as a seamless continuity of care. We also now talk about personalized medicine and from being reactive to predictive and proactive care. So we have to start thinking in those terms to be able to understand what digital health means for us and what is it that it will do for us. So we have to move from a very doctor-centric or a hospital-centric focus to a patient-centric care. Care is shifting to where the patient is, which means that more and more care is getting shifted to homes, and it is guided by the doctors. And the doctors now are not like at the top of the pyramid in this system. Doctor is one of the team members of the care, and most of the care, we expect that it will be, the information around care will be controlled by the patient. So I want to discuss some of the newer challenges that have emerged now. We just discussed what are the conventionally what we have been thinking of as the challenges for digitization, and more or less that boiled down to the fact that it is the mindset of the healthcare provider which needs to change. But let's look at what are the newer challenges that are facing us on a day-to-day basis, and that is because of the digital ecosystem. So to understand these challenges, I want you to just focus on what are the various process owners in a hospital, because every process owner is actually generating different sets of data. So we have an administrative division, a clinical division, then we have other internal process related vendors like the HR and the ERP, and the external ecosystems, which are the patient health records, the devices, wearables, population health data repositories, the National Digital Health Mission, which will mandate certain data to be given to the government, and various other legal and the audit requirements. So what has this environment or these multiple process owners and the data that is being generated, what are the challenges that it has brought to us? Is that we have multiple sets of data generators. Interoperability between these multiple sets or parties of data generation is an issue. We do not have a universal user interface. There is a major issue with legacy systems, data migration, and interface of equipments. And this is something that we face all the time now, more and more, because there are hospitals that have digitized since many years, and now they are faced with newer systems and newer devices, and they're not able to integrate all of them. And this becomes a major challenge for every hospital because it's a huge investment and we don't know which way to go. There is an issue regarding terminologies and the standards that we have to use. Which standards to use, whether we should be using ICD, whether you should be using ICD 10 or 11 or SNOMED or LOINC or various other codes that are there, CPT and so on and so forth. There is no guideline for this. various healthcare providers are using different terminologies and different codings. There needs to be some standard guidelines available in the country. Asset tracking is a major issue. Various devices that are available, and some of the devices that the patients may be using at home, and they're collecting data at home that needs to be interfaced with the EMR that is with the hospital, and not only with one hospital, but across multiple hospitals. Then integration of the various operational codes of the hospital, which are these code blue, code red, code pink, etc., etc., and linkages to the payers of the insurance and the various government insurance schemes or the private insurance schemes and various other payers like the railways and the defense and so on and so forth. The significant problem for the hospitals come from the vendors that are providing the softwares, which come with very rigid process flows. So it becomes like the hospital has to follow the process flows that the IT vendors decide. Now that is wrong. See, it has to be the healthcare IT has to work for the hospital and not the other way around. And this is something that the hospitals need to insist, and the hospitals need to ensure that it happens. So this lack of flexibility in the softwares that are available is a major challenge to the hospitals to adopt. Again, the fragility, the lack of quality assurance, or maybe may not be the lack of quality assurance, but I should say the lack of knowledge of quality assurance, and the lack of awareness about data security with various digital devices. Because now you see the rate at which the new devices come up, there is no time for a hospital or the healthcare providers and the doctors to check on all these things, because to check all these things, the doctors have to know access and many of the healthcare software solutions. And this lack of involvement, or I would say very minimal involvement, is responsible for the fact that the hospitals find it very difficult to adopt the solution that is going to be given to them. And it is very difficult for the healthcare providers to really follow the process that the developer, the technologist decides what the hospital should be using. And of course, another major challenge is the digitally skilled manpower is lacking in the hospitals. There are very, very few doctors or technicians who are knowledgeable about medical informatics. And this manpower is required when we really go digital in completely digitized hospitals. So this manpower is very, very minimal at the moment. There are very few courses, and the few people that are trained, many of them prefer to go to the healthcare IT industry rather than go to the hospital for obvious reasons of payment related factors, and that becomes a challenge for the hospital. So if I was to conclude what are the challenges that we have and which we need to really address, is when we go digital, the healthcare workers are disengaged from the entire process. So whether it is about when we design the systems or when we are implementing also, the involvement of the healthcare workers needs to be much better. The digital products need to be more user-friendly. They need to have more flexibility. And one major problem that I see, and we faced it at many places, that when the healthcare IT providers, they come and tell the hospitals about the solutions that they are going to sell and what they will provide, they usually come with a demo piece. And usually during the demonstrations, they will demonstrate everything to you, that the capabilities, so on and so forth. But in the name of customization, most of the times they're building the solution at the cost of the provider. Now, that is not something that the hospitals are conventionally used to really, take the cost of building that solution. What the hospitals usually expect is that there is a product that has been developed, which will be given to them with minimal customization. So that needs to be addressed so that more number of hospitals can use the systems. As we go further, more and more digital, interoperability will become an issue which needs to be addressed, because there will be multiple softwares that a hospital is using. There will be multiple devices and multiple equipments that we'll be using. All of them come with their own software and all need to be interfaced. So the extent to which the hospital can successfully go digital depends on the interoperability between different solutions. And of course, data accuracy and security. The legal support that the healthcare community requires with respect to data security. And I want to address, this is a very challenging issue, because at this moment, as per what the laws of the country are, the doctors or the hospitals are responsible for the security of the data. Now, what I want everybody to realize is that neither the doctor nor the hospital has any way of knowing how secure the data is in the environment or when it is being collected by the vendor that's providing the software solution. There is no test that we know how to do. There is no check that we do. And that's because we don't know. So there has to be a more competent authority to check these data security related issues, and that will help the healthcare provider rather than putting the onus of the security of the data on the healthcare provider, because the healthcare provider does not have the knowledge of what is required for data security. What is also important for us as we go forward is that the government needs to come up with supportive guidelines in time for meeting the requirements or the needs of the healthcare industry and the healthcare IT industry, to ensure that this entire process of the journey or the movement, I would say that there is a revolution that is going to happen in the country, which is about digitization of healthcare. And if this has to be a successful movement, then government guidelines need to come in time. And see, we know that the government guidelines for telemedicine practice came up in March 2020. And this was in response to COVID. The telemedicine has been around in the country for more than 20 years, and it was waiting for some direction, some guideline to make it a legal entity, to be able to charge patients for that, to be able to practice telemedicine. And for 20 years, we practiced telemedicine in silos, really, and without proper guidelines from the government. And suddenly in March 2020, when the guidelines came, we all have seen how quickly it got adopted and how it sort of just mushroomed overnight. So the government guidelines have to be timely. Otherwise, the people will not use the appropriate solutions, and that will demotivate everybody. So when we look at the landscape today, we know that government is very, very ambitious about taking the country's health digital. I mean, everything is going digital, and healthcare should be no exception. We know that there are a lot of advantages of digitizing the healthcare, and the post-COVID landscape has made it amply clear that we not only need digitization, but the fact that the patient community and the healthcare community will both use it, provided there are appropriate guidelines, there are appropriate solutions that are being provided to them. So when we look at what the future is going to be, we've seen telemedicine sudden increase. We've seen isolated examples of very successful use of the HIS, LIS, PACS, EMRs, and limited use of EMRs. Some hospitals do it very well, the others don't even bother to take it. There are for healthcare insurance, for various pharmacies, mobile money, AI, blockchain, limited uses we are seeing in various come together. India is a large country, and we have to not only do it in our country, we have to do it around, and we have to go global. So in that sense, we need to really be able to expand what we have done. So we can no longer just limit ourselves to small islands of success. We have to go across, and we need to make it universal. So what we expect support of the government as regards data security, availability of data for use, and laws regarding data confidentiality, how much should be confidential, what is necessarily to be kept confidential, all of that. There is a lack of clarity. We cannot just ape a Western country and say, okay, just because they have a certain law, we must follow the same. We need to make these rules and guidelines in the context of Indian culture, because in Indian culture, data confidentiality has a very different meaning. Here we have seen how the entire village will come to see a patient, and there is data that is shared between relatives, between friends, unlike communities in the West, where privacy has a different connotation. So we need to really not just ape the West because that is what they have done it, so we should do it. No, we need to Indianize our regulations and guidelines. We need to ensure appropriate and timely guidelines from the government, as I mentioned before. We must remember that the patient now will be what I call the e-patient, an engaged, empowered, and an equal patient. And when I say equal, in terms of information, once he has sufficient information, he's an equal partner in decision making along with the doctor. So, and there is a constant exchange between the EHR and the PHR, that is the electronic health record, which is generated at the hospital, and the PHR, which is the patient's personal health record, which is controlled by the patient. So it is really, if health was the world, then it is like dunya muthi mein, so it is really the patient has control over the health records. And that's the vision of the NDHM. It is eventually the vision of NDHM is to enable every citizen in India to have a PHR and control their own PHR. And that's the journey that we have to take. And when the patient changes, where the healthcare worker also is a tech-enabled, collaborative expert who believes in collaborative care and team approach. So the patient of the future will have all this in their cell phone, if I was to say. So literally in the palm of their hand, they have control over their pharmacy, their hospitals, their clinics, labs, doctors, all the employer-related data, care teams, research that is relevant to them and the other cohorts of patients, so that they can exchange data or get information, and also their payers and the insurance providers. So all this will be in the hands of the patients to control. So all this data is going to be with the patient, and the challenge for us would be to integrate all the data, because every decision requires different inputs from all these data generating sources. So is it possible to do this transformation? Yes, it is possible. It is possible because we can accurately collect all the data, analyze the data, and really provide the transformation in this clinical, business, and population health that we need to do to resolve the issues that we have talked about in terms of quality, in terms of costs, in terms of providing access to everybody, irrespective of where the patient is located. Care will become uniform. And so therefore, when care is agnostic of location, that's what we need. We've been, talking about the lack of healthcare in our rural communities and, reaching the last mile. It is through digitization that we can really bring that transformation. Thank you so much.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.